Number 75, I believe.
Okay.
No, 70, okay. Excuse me. 70.
Reserving the right to object, so ordered. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 3409, offered by Mr. Graves of Louisiana, 070.
Gentleman's recognized, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to be clear. I intend to withdraw this one as well, but I also want to highlight an issue that I'd like to continue working with your staff on. This one's got an incredibly somewhat contentious and inconsistent history. This dates back to 2010, where a new class, a vessel that was put in place, it was anything over 50 feet in length. Congress came back in 2015 and distinguished it from 50 to 79 feet. In 2018, from 50 to 180 feet. The base text of this bill resorts back to 50 feet with an implementation date of 2013. What our amendment would do would be to bump it back to 150 feet. Let me see if I can just very quickly distill what's going on here. Mr. Rouser, in his backyard, he builds birdhouses. Yeah, I just made that up. But in Louisiana, in our backyard, we often, folks, fishermen, they build vessels. They build boats in their backyard, commercial fishing vessels. This takes years to construct. This isn't an overnight operation. What happened is in 2010, the Congress came in and established a new classification standard that required naval architecture designs. It required a marine surveyor on site throughout construction. You can imagine, Mr. Chairman, if you have a vessel that's being built over several years for commercial fishing operations, to have that type of burden is incredibly challenging. This is in South Louisiana. We have the second largest commercial fishing industry in the United States. This is a significant burden on this community that have built these boats for generations and generations. We're concerned that what's going to happen by putting these more expensive and onerous standards on these fishers, what they're going to do is they're going to end up extending the life because their old boats are grandfathered in. They're going to end up continuing to use these less safe vessels rather than coming in and doing new construction, building safer, newer boats. And so this simply recognizes that the construction time for building boats in this manner in their backyard, that it does take several years. It gives them more visibility. It makes the effective date effective on enactment upon this bill, which would simply grandfather in these vessels that have been under construction for many years in these folks' backyard, and it's going to result in a more safe scenario because otherwise you're going to have folks that are going to be taking boats built in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s and extending the life of those whenever they're less safe designs and aren't incorporating new technology in. I want to make note that under the 2010 changes, that some of the requirements of the inspection standards and having a marine surveyor on site during construction, those are more onerous, more expensive standards than other vessels or commercial vessels are required. I understand complex issue, complex history, but Mr. Chairman, I wanted to highlight this issue and would like to work with you and the committee staff as we continue this, moving it to the floor. And I'd be happy to yield.
I thank